What's up, Texans fans? It's your man Chess White, aka Jargon2, and in this one, we're going to talk about Week 1, Texans at Rams, take a look at the box score, take a look at what happened in the game, and see what went well and what went wrong in this one. A lot went wrong. We had 11 penalties going into that fourth quarter, midway through the fourth quarter, and you have a final score 9-14. So just taking a quick look at the box, you got CJ throwing for 188. No scores, one pick. And Stafford throwing for 245, one score, no picks. You had Nick Chubb running for 60 yards. Kyron Williams also with 66 yards and a score. Then you had Jaden Higgins as the leading receiver with 32 yards. Hutch with 30 yards. Schultz, 27. Nico Collins with 25 yards. And for LA, you had Puka Nacua with 130 yards and Devontae picking up 50 yards. So let's take a look at the drive-by-drive real quick. So we have Texans opening drive of the game. That's going to be a punt. LA, punt. Houston with a 62-yard drive and a field goal. Third possession there. LA punt, Houston punt. LA punt. Houston field goal, just a 19-yard drive, so good field position starting there. Then you had an LA touchdown, Kyron Williams going from 1 yard. Texans getting another field goal, so it was 9-7 for what felt like a long time in the game. Only putting up 9 points, not what you want to do in the game. Next possession to open the second half, Stafford's going to throw a touchdown pass for 13 yards. And then we're going to throw an interception, which to me was incomplete. It's up to you if you think that was a catch. LA punt, Houston punt, LA punt, Houston punt, LA fumble. This was one of the most important plays of the game. It was Aziz with the helmet to football hit on the tight end to cause that fumble, and Danielle Hunter to recover it, just to give the Texans life in the game, just to give them the opportunity to go and win the game. And then you have the Texans fumble with Dare Ogunbowale getting the ball punched out by Nate Landman on the drive that you needed to have a touchdown just to have a chance to win the game. If they had left any time on the clock, there was a chance that the Rams would have one more possession, but Dare gets named as team captain and then fumbles in the biggest spot in the game. So you really kneecap the team in that respect, because they don't even get a chance at the end zone, just turning it over there to end the game. And it was a tough sledding all game. You take a look at, some of the stats. We could not run the ball as I was anticipating, and CJ only threw 27 passes. So in the preview, I had mentioned Kaylee saying something to the effect of, if you have to throw it 50 times to win, then you should. Well, CJ's only about halfway, just past halfway to 50 passes. And Nick Chubb has 60 yards. CJ actually had 32 yards. And he was quite good at scrambling early in the game to pick up firsts on third and shorts. But you just did not see enough from the offense. The O-line got wrecked, as was expected and predicted. The Rams D-line really just destroyed the Texans O-line all game. The 11 penalties, as I said, was a big part of the game. And then one turnover late in the game. But because there's no running game, because there's not great protection and pretty conservative play calling by Kaylee, can't really put the loss on Kaylee entirely, because Dare is fumbling that pass, which was wide open. And all he really had to do was just get down to continue that drive. And he had the ball in his left hand and gets it punched out. I'm not going to put that on Kaylee. Kaylee has a chance to win the game on that last drive if he just gets his players to execute. But you had CJ actually playing a really good game, despite the lack of stats, despite losing the game. CJ actually played at an extremely high level. And Higgins looks pretty good out there, just with a couple grabs, but still looks the part. And looks like Nico. A lot of passes to the tight ends underneath, and it looked like the Texans' play calling was actually working on certain drives. They were able to put together enough plays to at least throw up some field goals. And wasn't really expecting to win this one. It was a 3-point spread, right? So losing by 5 points. It's not too far off on the mark there either. But week one, you look at just the situation going on the road to play an NFC champion team that was in the NFC championship game last year. Not a good way to start off the season. Wasn't really expecting a dominant performance by any means. Defense played really well, keeping them to 14 points. Keep getting off the field a lot on third downs. Pass rush looks good. Will Anderson, a couple sacks out there. Stingley got hurt a little bit, but was okay. But defense played quite well in some spots, and that was to be expected as well. So going into the rest of the season, just expecting to be maybe a defensive dominant team, and the offense off to a terrible start. As was predicted, they were rusty, lots of penalties, bad execution, delay of game, holding, offensive line struggle. Very similar things to what we saw last year, but week one does not determine your season, and especially against an NFC opponent. So looking at their performance, I just think that it was a good showing by the defense, but you're not going to win games in the NFL scoring 9 points. That's just the truth. You have to put up a lot more points than that, and the Texans are going to have a lot to work on offense. Nick Chubb did look pretty good running between the tackles. We did see Dameon Pierce with a few carries. He didn't look so good. Woody Marks could not do anything with his carries. And there was a moment where Pierce was trying to catch a pass out of the backfield, which should have been going to Marks because he didn't catch a wide open pass. And, wide receivers, they do look okay. But the Rams' defensive line was really just out there, tough to block. And they were this game was a lot of pressure, lots of blitzes by both teams. And understandably so, with our offensive line weakness, they were blitzing us, making CJ have to decide quickly. And he did take several sacks in the game. Don't know if it was 4 or 5 by the time they had gotten to the fourth quarter, but they had taken too many sacks. And so you look at the game kind of as a whole. We take an L to start the season, 0-1 on the road, and got a home opener next week. So just kind of depends on what we do in this next game and how we respond. And, as I said, the season is not going to end on your first week. So you got to go out there and put something together better week 2, going up against the Bucs. We did win in week 1. So we'll be a 1-0 coming into your house with you sitting at 0-1 game in prime time. Lots of pressure in that game for sure. Tristan Wirfs is supposed to be out, big piece for Tampa Bay, and so that does bode well for the Texans' defense. And we did lose Christian Kirk for about a month, not supposed to see him for a while. He was someone who might have factored into this game, but we lost him. We lost Brevin Jordan, lost a few weapons here and there. Mixon is out, and the offense is putting up 9 points, and so they're going to have to put together way better performance there. And in special teams, not much to say. Kaimi hit his field goals, but that's about it because there's not a whole lot to really go through. There's some positives to take away. You have to like that CJ was making good decisions, and the interception I'm not really saying is his fault either. Higgins had the ball for a second, and then the DB steals it from him, and as he's going to the ground, that ball hits the ground. But they said that he had pinned it enough to maintain possession. I also thought that he was out of bounds on that play. CJ threw another interception later in the game that was also out of bounds, so that didn't count. But still, he's 19 out of 27, and he's almost hitting 200 yards going up against a really difficult opponent. And looking at the receivers, he spread the ball out a lot. So you had lots of receivers with 3 or more catches. And he was throwing it to the running backs pretty successfully, especially to the play to Dare. And you can see that there's elements of the offense that are there that look good. And you can see that the Texans just didn't have the right game plan, as I was referring to in the preview. This had to be a CJ short passing game to supplement for the run and to really only try to run the ball if you've established a lead. And although the Texans had a slight lead for a bit, it was not enough. And they'll have to fix up a whole lot of things, especially with the shuffling of the O-line. I'm sure people will be talking about that for the next week. But we have something to look forward to for week 2, and we'll see how the Texans can do in that game. Until then, I'm out. Peace out.